Chapter 46 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. If odd, change. If even, remain the same. If odd, change. If even, remain the same. Shaocheng silently repeated the so-called Shishya secret code. For a while, he absolutely didn't know what to make of it. It's been a while since you saw the report, Xiaoteng said. Let's hear your ideas. The Prime Minister thought deeply. Odd and even are opposites. If odd change, but if even do not change, I think this may be alluding to the time when the Shishya army marches. On odd numbered days, they go. On even numbered days, they stop. The Minister of War carefully thought about it. The word change is particularly debatable. I think this may pertain to a change in the formation. The Shishya might use a changeable formation to attack our army. The Crown Prince's herald muttered to himself. The theory of odd and even is often used in mathematics. Perhaps this sentence is alluding to a certain mathematical law? The Assistant Minister of Revenue couldn't agree. He said doubtfully, what does mathematical laws have to do with marching and fighting? They discussed for a long time. Every theory they came up with had some aspect of it that was a little far-fetched, and in the end, no one could fully convince the others. Xiaocheng calmly watched the ministers arguing, and when they grew quiet, he said unhurriedly, have you finished? The Prime Minister respectfully asked, may I ask the Crown Prince for his opinion? Xiaocheng slowly blew the steam from his teacup and said, do you actually believe Gu Fuzhao's claim that this is a coded message from the Shishya? Everyone looked at each other in dismay. Lying about the military situation was tantamount to deceiving the emperor, which was a serious crime. Even General Gu's personal conduct, how could he do such a thing? The Ministry of War asked, sounding him out. What does your highness mean? Xiaocheng put down the teacup. In the past 3 months, Gu Fuzhao's temperament has changed greatly. His behavior and character has become questionable. A while ago, he was clamoring to return to the capital, and today he came up with an inexplicable Shishya coded message. Xiaocheng, his eyes narrowed slightly. I wonder if this coded message has something to do with his reason for returning to the capital. The Crown Prince's herald said, now that His Highness mentioned it, this official also feels that there is something inappropriate with General Gu's request. If this message, if odd change, if even remain the same, really does conceal the Shishya's secret military plans, how could we possibly publicize it? Even in the capital, the very stronghold of the emperor, there will inevitably be spies from hostile countries. General Gu requesting us to do this is he not afraid of beating the grass and startling the snake? General Gu is a warrior after all. He is eager for victory. It is not surprising for him to commit some oversight, the Prime Minister said. His Highness, the battle in the northwest is at a stalemate. I would rather believe in the validity of the coded message than not. This secret message still needs to be solved. Xiaocheng's lips hooked up in a sneer. Naturally, it shall be decoded. After all, Gu also really wanted to know just what medicine Gu Fuzhao is selling in his gourd. I don't know what that means. But we won't be going about it in the way that he wishes. Xiaocheng thought for a while and said, publicizing it is out of the question. Go and find the scholars of the Imperial Academy and have them solve it in the side hall of Xinjiang Palace. They shall remain there until they crack it. No one unrelated to this matter should know of this coded message. Do you all understand? The scholars of the Imperial Academy were all exceptionally rare talents. If they couldn't figure it out, how could ordinary people possibly do it? The Minister of War praised his decision. His Highness is wise. The next day, the Imperial Academy, located by the west gate of the palace compound, was deserted. Not a single scholar was to be seen, and except for themselves, no one knew what they were up to. In the Imperial Hospital, standing opposite the Imperial Academy, it was business as usual. Most of the people who came to the Imperial Hospital to request for the services of an imperial physician were the maids and eunuchs of the various palaces. Just by looking at their clothes and bearing, you could already tell the status of their master in the palace. For example, a palace maid who came today, her clothes were not particularly represented, but she had a naturally poised bearing and a classy temperament. The eunuchs of the Imperial Hospital were also particularly friendly to her. It turned out that this person was Lu Yao, a maid from Fengyi Palace. As soon as Lu Yao crossed the doorway of the Imperial Hospital, Xu Zhengde stood up. For Lu Yao Nanyang to come here, is Her Majesty feeling ill? Let me clear these away, and I will head to Fengyi Palace immediately. There is no need to trouble yourself, Imperial Physician Shu. Among the many Imperial physicians on duty, Lu Yao instantly caught the sight of the most eye-catching one. The Empress specially requested for Imperial Physician Lin to check her pulse for her. Chu Zhengde had whipped around to look at Lin Qingyu, his beard shaking with anger. He said, "Him, a 7th grade medical officer who has just joined the Imperial Hospital? How could he possibly be qualified to look after the Empress's health?" Lin Qingyu cast a glance at Chu Zhengde and hoisted his medicine box on his back. Mindless idiot. The Empress definitely wasn't looking for him to examine her pulse. If he guessed correctly, it should be for Lu Wancheng. Lu Yao said indifferently, "I do not know. Imperial Physician Lin, please follow me to Fengyi Palace." Chu Zhengde stared at Lin Qingyu's retreating back, his beard almost smoking from anger. Impudent junior. Lin Qingyu arrived at Fengyi Palace and paid his respects to the Empress. He knelt on the ground and was about to open his medicine box when he heard the Empress say, "There is no need to bother. I wasn't looking for you today for that. You may rise." Lin Qingyu stood up and the Empress looked at him up and down. She said, gratified, "You look good in this official uniform." Lin Qingyu lowered his eyes and said, "The Empress bestows undue praise." "How are you doing in the Imperial Hospital?" "Everything is satisfactory. Thank you for your concern." "I have seen Lu Wancheng's will and testament." The Empress looked upset. "Everything he wrote was about you. He earnestly begged me to return your freedom. How could I, as his aunt, refuse? Of course, you have proven yourself quite capable as well. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to join the Imperial Hospital." Lin Qingyu didn't have much interest in talking with the Empress, so he merely stood and said nothing. The Empress sighed and said, "Wancheng, looking down in heaven, must feel very gratified to see how you are now. Forget it. It's been more than 3 months since Wancheng has left." Lin Qingyu's eyelashes trembled slightly. Yes, in 3 more days, it will be 100 days. Life flies so fast, the Empress said sadly. I have ordered someone to light an ever burning candle for Wanchang in Changseng Temple. If you have time, go to the temple and light some incense for him. Lin Qingyi saluted and said, This official shall do as Her Majesty suggests. 2 days later, Lin Qingyu took Huan Tong to Changseng Temple, taking the advantage of his day off. It was April and the world was full of fragrance. The peach blossoms of the mountain temple were beginning to bloom. With the passing of March, the long winter was finally over. This time last year was also the time when that person was most alive. Wancheng's memorial tablet was enshrined in Changshen Temple's side hall. Lin Qingyu lit 3 sticks of incense, borrowing fire from the ever-burning candle. He bowed 3 times, offering his prayers, and placed the incense sticks in front of the tablet. Imperial Physician Lin Qingyu turned around and wasn't at all surprised to see a visitor. Imperial Guard Shen. Shen Haoshi was still wearing that black outfit, a sword at his waist. When he wasn't beside Shao Chang or in the palace, he would certainly be regarded as having an imposing and impressive appearance. Imperial Physician Lin seems to have expected my arrival. I only guessed that you would come to me. However, I didn't know that you would come to Changseng Temple to find me today, Lin Qingyi said calmly. It seems that Imperial Guard Shen has been shadowing me. It wasn't my wish, Shen Haoshi whispered, but it's inconvenient to talk in the palace. I can only look for opportunities outside. I'm sorry. He walked to the ever-burning candle and looked at Lu Wancheng's tablet. He said, Imperial Physician Lin, was it difficult to overcome the pain of bereavement? It's all right. You just need to find something for yourself. Shen Haoshi gave a distressed cry and said, If everyone were as open-minded as Imperial Physician Lin, there wouldn't be so many pining lovers in the world. Lin Qingyu didn't have the patience to lament over the passing of spring and coming of autumn with Shen Haoshi. You came to me because of the mark on my medicine box? Shen Haoshi nodded. That is a secret code that only the people in the Shen family's heavenly prison sect know of. But now I'm the only one left of the heavenly prison sect. Shen Haoshi's Adam apple bobbed up and down. How does Imperial Physician Lin know about it? Since this was all planned by Zhang, there was no need for him to hide it. I don't know. This medicine box was given to me by my deceased husband. Young Master Hao? How did he? Shen Haoshi frowned and pondered for a moment. Imperial Physician Lin, where is the medicine box now? I pretty much carry it with me everywhere. It's in the carriage right now. Lin Qingyu asked Huan Tong to fetch the medicine box. Shen Haoshi stroked that particular mark with his fingers and asked, Imperial Physician Lin, can I take it apart and have a look? Lin Qingyu hesitated for a moment and said, Do as you please. Shen Haoshi carefully took out everything from the medicine box. After a few flashes from his sword, countless cracks appeared on the surface of the mahogany medicine box, and it burst open with a bang. Among the countless wooden chips, something emerald green was revealed. Shen Haoshi's breathing turned shaky, and he picked up the emerald green object. It was a jade plaque with the words Heavenly Prison engraved on one side. How could this be? Shen Haoshi murmured in a low voice. When someone from the heavenly prison sect dies, their jade plaques are destroyed as well. Is there someone still alive? Lin Qingyu said. There is a line of small characters on the back of the jade plaque. Looking at the necks of the small characters, it must have been engraved recently. Shen Haoshi turned it over and read it aloud. Shu Zhao, Shao Chang. Lin Qingyu seemed to lost in thought. Shu Zhao? Zhang wanted to lead Shen Haoshi to Shu Zhao to find the owner of this jade plaque. Lin Qingyu asked, Are you going? Shen Haoshi didn't hesitate. Of course. Lin Qingyu whispered, You are a shadow god with impressive martial arts abilities, but your mind is as innocent as a child's. You trust my deceased husband so much? He was the type to be led by nose by others. It was understandable how he can be so smitten and dead set on Shao Chang. Zhang probably knew this, and that was why he could do something like this. Shen Haoshi's chest rose and fell violently. His eyes were slightly red. As long as there is a glimmer of hope, I will definitely. When are you going to go? Lin Qingyu said. Will the Crown Prince let you go? Shen Haoshi's eyes revealed a sense of loss, but it was quickly replaced by determination. I will find a way. Heavenly Prison Sect, he had never heard of it before. Seeing the Shen Haoshi's preoccupied appearance, now was not a good time to get to the bottom of the matter. If you think of a way, let me know, Lin Qingyu said. I also wish to go to Shu Zhao to see what my deceased husband was thinking. Shen Haoshi held the jade plaque tightly and said in a hoarse voice, All right. By the time Lin Qingyu walked out of Chanseng Temple, it was almost dusk. The setting sun colored the sky in tongues of flame. Soon, once it burns out, the day will be over. He was about to get into the carriage when a little monk stopped him. Patron Lin. Lin Qingyu remembered this little monk. The last time he came to Chanseng Temple with Zhang, it was this monk who invited Zhang to see Shu Junyan. Shu Junyan. Lin Qingyu's heart moved and he asked, Is the national teacher looking for me? The national teacher is still in retreat and he cannot see anyone, the little monk said. But before he entered his retreat, he ordered me to hand something over to Patron Lin. After saying so, the little monk took out a silk brocade bag from his bosom. Patron Lin, please. Lin Qingyu took the bag and opened it. Inside was a note with 10 characters written on it. The 8 characters of one's birth and a name. This is. Looking at the familiar handwriting, Lin Qingyu's eyes were a little dry from the wind. He had even just been laughing at Shen Haoshi's loss of control over his emotions just now. Now it was his hands that were shaking. On the 99th day after that person left, he finally knew his name. He didn't expect that constantly sleep-deprived salted fish to be named like this. Oh my gosh, he finally knows, but we still don't. But at least he knows. That's what it matters. One more day for him to get through that code, or listen to the code to know that his salted fish of a husband is alive and is coming back to him.